Welcome back to Big Time Fantasy Football with Zach and Nick. So we've been doing kind of prospect profiles and breakdowns for the last couple of weeks here. Today we're gonna we got a group of guys that we didn't get to talk about that didn't fit in those videos, but that we're excited about personally. So then we're gonna get into it, break them down, talk about them a little bit for you. The first guy that I wanted to go into was Ladd McConkey, and what a lad he is, let me tell you. I'm pretty excited about him. At first, people were kind of completely ignoring him, and then he was sneaking up. This is where I started getting interested in him. He's kind of higher from most people's point of view now, but I'm still hoping that I can get him in a discount in my Dynasty Rookie Draft. But some of the things about him is he played both outside and slot position, which I like the versatility. Obviously, you want a receiver playing outside more, but to have the versatility to also play in the slot and outside, I like that a lot. He's good at getting open. He moves his feet well. He runs route great. He's really shifty. Has more speed than you think. He's not a prototypical speedster, but he did run a 4.39. And at certain plays on the field, not every play, but certain plays, he's going to surprise some people with his speed and look a little faster than that. And as I already said, shifty guy. He has this move that he does where he catches the ball and does this little dead leg move, and often it gets the defender to fall or kind of be reaching on him, and he has enough to go through those arm tackles and get a ton of extra yards on that. So if that's something that can translate to the NFL, I'd be really excited about that. Great route runner, said that already. He did have low production as a fourth-year player, which I think is the reason that people are lower on him. But he was, playing with Bowers and that type of thing, so obviously that's taken routes from him. He had injuries problems as well, another thing that's kind of bringing him down. Almost every year, nothing major, he's not tearing ACL and MCL and all that, but he did get bumped and bruised a lot, so another thing that's bringing him down. And I think another thing that's bringing him down is just he's getting lost in the receiver shuffle. This is such a crazy class of receivers that you can't talk about everyone all the time, and you can't take in information from everybody. There's just too many receivers. So I think he's getting lost in the shuffle there. But something that I thought was kind of really funny, and hopefully I can find the picture I saw of this, is he had a nearly identical combine to Garrett Wilson as far as size, speed, broad jump, vertical jump, weight, all that was almost perfectly identical with Garrett Wilson. Obviously, he didn't have the production that Garrett Wilson had, so he's not the prospect that Garrett Wilson is. But I mean, that's a pretty impressive person to be directly compared to there. So, Ladd, I'm super high on. I'm gonna do whatever I can. I think he will be a second round rookie dynasty pick, early second round probably. I don't currently have a second round pick. I traded early in the season, so I'll have to try to find a way to sneak back in there to try to grab him.
Yeah, definitely a good prospect. I like what you said about getting lost in the shuffle of all these great prospects.
Yeah.
It's just such a deep class. In early second, if you're getting that talent in the early second round, this class is just super deep with talent. So
Absolutely.
we would be remiss if we did not bring up one of the better tight end prospects we've seen in a long time, and Brock Bowers. He is 6'3", 243. He can really do it all from a tight end standpoint. He's a really good blocker. He's good at the catch point. He can run different routes, and he actually led all tight ends in yards after the catch this past season, so he can also do it when the ball's in his hands. He's pretty much just a force, a weapon. He can be classified as a big movable tight end, or I think a huge receiver. I think that's in his skill set. So similar to like a Dalton Kincaid last year, Rob Gronkowski, Jason Witten, just at the end of his career, he's going to fall among the great tight ends. And his blocking, the fact that he can block so well, it's going to keep him on the field more. Teams are going to want to focus their offense around this guy, just like Mark Andrews at the moment. Lamar, that's his security blanket, and I think Brock Bowers can do the same. Hopefully they don't keep him as an NFL team won't use him as just a blocker. Hopefully they get him out on those routes and use him to his full abilities, but that is to be seen. And I think if he lands like with the Chargers or something, Jim Harbaugh will be able to use him very well.
Yeah, absolutely. And Bowers is one of those guys we've wanted to talk about for a long time, just because he is that great top end tight end prospect. We just didn't think the tight end class was steep enough to really warrant its own video, so we did find a way to get Bowers in to talk about for sure. And yeah, great prospect there. The lad running with my running mate lad there. Yeah, so if you need a tight end, you're definitely going to want to get into the first round to get Bowers this year for sure. But the next guy that we got here is the single most intriguing prospect in this year's draft is Spencer Rattler, in my opinion anyways. He just, his whole career, everything that happened with him is just, this is a story, you know. He was a Heisman favorite coming into a year, and then had to transfer that same year. Lost his jobs to Caleb Williams at Oklahoma. So he was undefeated too, which is a crazy thing. Undefeated, they're losing a game, then to Texas, I believe, and then Caleb Williams comes in, balls out, and then from there Spencer Rattler's out. But a thing about him that I liked a lot, even from his early days on the show QB1, to kind of his exit interviews at South Carolina.
Definitely tell a 17-year-old me to stay as humble as you possibly can.
You can see how much he's matured. It was just a huge process, which I think is great for him. Shows a lot for his character. Shows that he's willing to learn and change. Another thing that has me high on him is that at South Carolina, he ran an NFL-style offense, which NFL teams like to see. There's these charts of players throwing at different spots in the field, and he was on top of that. He threw it all over the field. He runs those deep outs that not a lot of college teams run. He played under center. He played shotgun. He did kind of, the full thing at an NFL offense, and I think that'll help him translate if he does get his chance to make it to that NFL and start some games. And he did get off to a slow start at South Carolina when he first transferred over there from Oklahoma, but then he kept getting better, and his last 3 games were against 2 ranked teams, beat them both, and then had a bowl game, which they did end up losing by a touchdown, but he himself did have a great game. I think the defense gave up like 45 points or something, so not much he can do about that. And he did have a good final season as well. The team struggled. Again, I'm going to go ahead and put that on the defense because he had more passing touchdowns, more passing yards, less interceptions, and 1 less game than his previous season. So he himself did have a great season and showed another level of improvement, which, like I said, I like. He's just consistently improving. He is a dual threat type of guy. You can get out of the pocket, make a throw on the run, get you some rushing touchdowns, get you some rushing yards. There was a post before his last season at South Carolina, I believe it was, that was comparing him to Patrick Mahomes, which is ridiculous. Every time anyone can do a threat, they want to do it, compare him to Patrick Mahomes. But he is kind of in that, like a Patrick Mahomes light, to where if he's rolling out, he can dot the ball 25 plus yards on the move, which is an impressive skill to have. And he was the Senior Bowl MVP. Showed out there against the other seniors, which I think it's kind of hard to tell where he's going to go in the draft. I really have no idea. In mock drafts, he's obviously going to be at least a day 2 pick. He's not going round 1, but I don't know. He's exciting just to see where he could go. I think with that Senior Bowl and his last season, he did move up a tier. There was the Caleb Williams obviously going number 1, and then like Jaden Daniels, Drake May. And then you drop down from there. You got like JJ, Bo Nix, and Penix. And then under there is kind of the rest of the quarterbacks. I think that JJ moved up to the top, to a tier up, and then Rattler kind of took his spot up in that next tier. So I'm excited to see where he goes, where his landing spot is. Another guy that if I can get with later round pick, I'll 100% be eyeing him.
Yeah, I definitely think he's going to be a diamond in the rough. Especially, I think it would be good for him to maybe sit under a veteran quarterback for maybe a year, most of the year, just so that he can learn the professionalism of the NFL and be able to work hard, improve, and see how the vets do it. I think it'll go a long way in helping him succeed. So I like him as well.
That's a great situation for a lot of players to be able to sit behind a starting quarterback for a year or two. You see a lot of guys, MVP candidates, Mahomes, Lamar, that sat right away behind a guy. So if he can get a good veteran from him. I know it kind of sounds like he's trying to talk his way into getting drafted by the Vikings. He's saying that he would love to play there. He loves the pieces they have, which obviously he wouldn't have that guy in front of him at this point in time to learn from like that. But it would give him a chance to compete for his starting position right away, which might not be the best for his career, but see, it's left to be seen.
Yeah, I kind of like the landing spot for him of like the Rams. I think sitting behind Matthew Stafford for a year or so. It's a good offense. They have decent receivers. Puka Nacua, good young talent. They have Kyron there still. I think that would be a good place for him to sit. But,
that would be actually great. So I never really thought of that, but that's a great spot for him.
But getting into the next guy, his number one receiving option this year, Xavier Legette. 6'1", 221 pounds, so pretty good frame. Not the tallest guy, but he's definitely stocky. He can be that alpha type receiver. He kind of broke out this year, 1,255 yards, 7 touchdowns. Before that, his most receiving yards in a season was 167, and this was his 5th year. So he had a little bit of a later breakout, but when he broke out, man, he actually exploded onto the scene. And he has great acceleration and top-end speed. He's a very quick guy. He can break away from defenders, especially after the catch, and is excellent with contested catches. He uses his frame to good use, puts his frame to good use, and really just can come down with 50-50 balls, makes it more like 70-30 balls. And his great burst actually helps him get off the line very well. He has a really good release package against press coverage. And, I think if he learns under either a great receiver or a great coach and improves on some of his technical skills in route running, I think he can definitely be a great NFL receiver and take over as a one in an offense. But yeah, Xavier Legette, someone that he had a decent amount of hype at the start of draft season, but he's been falling a little bit just because I feel like people are worried that he's just a one-hit wonder. He really didn't have any production his first 4 years at South Carolina. Nothing major changed besides Spencer Rattler coming there, and then all of a sudden he hit 1,200 yards. So we'll see if it's just a one-year thing or if he can actually produce going forward and make a career out of it.
Yeah, I think it's kind of funny that we ended up kind of pairing teammates with both of ours because we picked ours separately. Yeah. We didn't really talk and decide together. We just kind of both picked our guys, and we just happened to pick teammates, which is funny. But yeah, Legette, I saw an interview with him, and I'm a fan now just because he's so country, or so southern. You would not expect it, and I think that's hilarious.
I say the deep ball, man, but I really feel like any way that I get the ball in my hand, I could get it to that end zone.
So I'm rooting for him for sure. But yeah, all these guys, other than Bowers, were kind of sleepers in my eyes. Some guys that are getting overlooked just because either a big receiver class or Rattler with his whole career, they're just getting kind of overlooked. Bowers obviously is the top tight end prospect for a while now, but I'm still probably going to call the video sleepers. We need clicks, so I don't care. I'm doing it. Yeah, that's pretty much the guys that we had. I'm so excited. Draft season's right around the corner. I'm pumped so we can finally stop theorizing where these guys might go, when their predicted value, all that. We can get their fits, and yeah, I think it'll be a really fun draft this year.
Yeah, absolutely. If you like the video, make sure to hit like, hit subscribe if you haven't already. Comment, let us know if you have any sleepers that you're looking out for in this year's draft. All right, and that's going to do it from us here at Big Time Fantasy Football. Thanks for watching.
See you guys.